So I want to recap some of the work we've done earlier on Bandha and explain again what that means. Now, it's essential if you're going to be working as a breath worker that you have some understanding you have lots of understanding in fact, and you can also do it. All right, so it's necessary to be able to do the practices. Now, I don't expect you to be able to sit in Padmasana necessarily, not immediately, but we've covered some terrain looking at how to process that and start working with that. And when you come and work with me on retreat, we can show you how to do that if your body is available for that. Some body types, depending on hip structure, can't do this particular practice very well. There are others we can do. So this is Padmasana, the lotus seat. The ankles are flat and open. The feet are on the top of the thighs. Both knees are on the floor. Yeah, and I'm sitting tall. So what this creates is a pyramidal type structure, yeah, within which we can then operate with a breath work for deeper breath work. A very useful structure. So Bandha is a word that technically, if you translate it, it means lock. However, it's much more about harnessing than it is locking. It's about transforming or changing. So if you think of a flow of water down a river and you put a dam in the way, yeah, and then it goes somewhere else, you channel it somewhere else, then it's about channeling and harnessing, right? So it's so there are three key bandhas. Yeah. Bandha and mudra are interrelated terms. This is a hasta mudra, a hand mudra. Mudra is both a gesture and an attitude of mind. This is another hasta mudra. This is another one. This is another one. There are many of them, and each one has a distinct flavour in terms of how it's supposed to affect the mind. And you have to find out yourself in deeper practice. There's not much point in just taking it that this does this thing and you haven't really practiced enough and then you tell other people the same thing, because you're spreading superstition then. You've got to be able to practice it in deeper practice and feel how that is in your system. It's embodied. It's not just a story that you've heard from a teacher. That's important, right? So the bandha is also connected to the mudra. It affects the mind. So one of the key bandhas we're working with is Mula Bandha, the root lock. And the root lock is where we draw the central area of the pelvic floor in and upwards. Yeah. Great. That's the root lock. Mula Bandha. Uddiyana Bandha is the upward flying harnessing mechanism, and it's where it's done on an out breath. Tummy squeezes into the spine, and then we switch on the external intercostals. Now that's an important practice because it's the only place where we can switch off the diaphragm and fully relax it, stretch it open. So we're using the external intercostals to stretch those diaphragmatic muscles open. Yeah? And it's the only place we can do that. So if you want to resolve emotional holding, trauma, reverse breathing, all that kind of stuff, then coming to this breath hold, the outward breath hold, and opening the diaphragm is a key element of practice, and ideally should be done before the inward breath hold, or certainly alongside it. But really before is ideal because you get the diaphragm free then. Right? And the third bandha we're joining together here is called Jalandhara Bandha, the neck vessel contraction up here, the neck vessel harnessing mechanism, which involves the three pieces of length, snaky length in the back of the neck, snaky length, curl like a fiddlehead fern, so curl, and then tuck the chin back up, which presses on the chemoreceptors, and particularly the baroreceptors, the pressure receptors on the carotid sinuses in the neck here, and that sends information to the brain which calms the heartbeat. And we join those three together, and those three together in union become Mahabandha, the great energy harnessing mechanism. It's often done to follow a breath practice, but I'll do it now independently just to remind you. So it's an out breath, pelvic floor up, tummy in, intercostals open, curl, a big one, length, curl, tuck. Release the muscles. Smile. Consciously inhale. So it's an outward breath hold. The inward breath hold is done after an inhale, obviously. And we squeeze the pelvic floor up gently, the front and middle. Squeeze the tummy in very slightly to contain. Lengthen the back of the neck, tuck, curl and tuck. Release the muscles. Smile. Consciously breathe out. So there's a little bit of revision on the Bandha and the breath holds. The outward breath hold, which is much more energetically up, anti-gravity and expansive. And the inward breath hold, which is containing and centering and expansive. So it's the breath holds and the bandhas. Fantastic.